Major bank and credit company Citigroup, with their long history of anti-gun discrimination and restricting services to firearms-related businesses, has officially reversed course with an announcement about their new commitment to more fair, unbiased banking practices. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to dive right in here and say that this sudden reversal of Citi's policies is likely not an altruistic one and is more a response to a shift in the political climate. I don't think that shift is such a big one that gun rights will suddenly be welcomed with open arms in the large-scale public stage, because the narrative against that is just too loud. But it's definitely an interesting development. But before I get into all of that, this video is brought to you by my second cup of Blackout coffee. Rocking the blueberry crumble today. Blackout has been supporting this channel for a long time now and has been supporting your rights for even longer. They have great, smooth coffee, tea, and hot chocolate, have added instant coffee to their lineup, and they even have dedicated partner roasts that raise money for GOA, FPC, and the Second Amendment Foundation. So to get a cup of coffee, tea, or hot chocolate that you can be proud of and help support the channel, go to blackoutcoffee.com/LibertyDoll, and as a bonus, you can use code LibertyDoll for a one-time 20% discount. Now, for a bit of context here, we need to roll back to 2018 and the aftermath of Parkland. At the time, gun control activists put intense pressure on gun-related and gun-adjacent businesses to adhere to a so-called code of conduct that, in some cases, resulted in flat-out debanking. A 2018 memo on the news section of Citi's website entitled "Announcing Our U.S. Commercial Firearms Policy" reads, "For too many years, in too many places, our country has seen acts of gun violence that have resulted in heartbreaking losses. We are all too familiar with them, and there is no need to recount them here. Over the same amount of time, we have waited for our grief to turn into action and see our nation adopt common sense measures that would help prevent firearms from getting into the wrong hands. That action has sadly never come, and as the weeks pass after the most recent mass shooting, it appears we are stuck in the same cycle of tragedy and inaction. But we want to do our part as a company to prevent firearms from getting into the wrong hands. So our new policy centers around current firearms sales best practices that will guide those we do business with as a firm. Under this new policy, we will require new retail sector clients or partners to adhere to these best practices. 1, they don't sell firearms to someone who hasn't passed a background check. 2, they restrict the sale of firearms for individuals under 21 years of age. And 3, they don't sell bump stocks or high-capacity magazines. This policy will apply across the firm, including to small business, commercial, and institutional clients, as well as credit card partners, whether co-brand or private label. It does not impact the ability of consumers to use their Citi cards at merchants of their choice. Failure to abide by these new rules meant that Citi would no longer work with the company. The announcement had also stated that while they didn't work with many firearms manufacturers, they would require any who they did work with to make sure that their products aligned with Citi's rules, and that all retailers and markets they worked with did the same, as well as abide by Citi's rules for their sales practices. Now, any legal business wouldn't be selling guns to someone who failed their background check anyway, but the rest are trying to legislate via financial and corporate activism. Of course, as a non-government company, Citi can technically institute whatever policies it wants, and businesses could choose to go elsewhere. But, number 1, Citi was pushing this policy while getting $45 billion in taxpayer-funded bailouts, which murks the waters. 2, the bank was restricting constitutionally protected activities. And 3, gun control activists did make it very difficult for companies to go elsewhere. Let's also not forget that corporations like Citi have no problem financing and working with military weapons sales and contracts, so there's some clear hypocrisy here. Some Republican-led states responded in kind, introducing and passing their own firearm industry non-discrimination acts, which barred companies with policies like Citi's from competing for public contracts. These cost Citi billions of dollars. And now, under alleged pressure from the Trump administration, Citi Executive VP Ed Schuyler says that times have changed. The financial giant put out a news release on Tuesday titled "Reinforcing Our Commitment to Fair Access to Financial Services," which states, "Citi has always been fully committed to treating all current and potential clients fairly, and we have policies, procedures, and controls in place for this express purpose. At the same time, we appreciate the concerns that are being raised regarding fair access to banking services, and we are following regulatory developments, recent executive orders, and federal legislation that impact this area." In light of those developments, we took an objective look at our policies and practices with the intent of striking the right balance between our commitment to fair and unbiased access to our products while continuing to manage all risks to the bank appropriately. As a result of that analysis, we are taking several actions. We also will no longer have a specific policy as it relates to firearms. Our U.S. commercial firearms policy was implemented in 2018 and pertained to sale of firearms by our retail clients and partners. The policy was intended to promote the adoption of best sales practices as prudent risk management and didn't address the manufacturing of firearms. Many retailers have been following these best practices, and we hope communities and lawmakers will continue to seek out ways to prevent the tragic consequences of gun violence. Which Citi is not your job, and frankly, you know nothing about the gun industry. March for Our Lives, a group organized in part by Parkland students, accused Citi of bowing to Trump and allowing gun sales to teenagers rather than protecting kids. But the fact of the matter is, gun rights are exactly that. They are rights. They're rights whether a bank or a president or a government or a piece of paper or whoever says they are. And at current, more states have adopted constitutional carry and a commitment to gun rights than those who wish to squash them, though the ones squashing them are doing it very hard. And while all gun sales require a background check, you'll be hard-pressed to find an FFL or gun maker that restricts sales to over 21s only, or doesn't make or sell standard capacity magazines unless a state law requires it. Not to mention that we trust these under 21s to hold actual military weapons out in the world, therefore proving that this age requirement is just an arbitrary number. Now, NBC claims that this is only due to Trump throwing his weight around at the World Economic Forum over concerns of debanking, and on that, I am inclined to agree. Citi also added in their memo that they wish to clearly state that we do not discriminate on the basis of political affiliation in the same way we are clear that we do not discriminate on the basis of traits such as race and religion. But from past history, we know that that might not exactly be the case. Now, it will be interesting to see if any of the other big banks Trump complained about speak out and adopt similar, quote, fair access principles. This might be the new norm for now, but I'd remind you all that nothing but gun owner vigilance will stop them from reversing course yet again when there is someone new in the White House. But for now, we can celebrate a step in the right direction. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are new here. Ring that notification bell and drop a comment down below. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there and happy shooting.